Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Beyond the Gates, doing this whole soap opera thing is an interesting journey because Friday episodes, they don't seem to be just standard episodes. I feel like when you really think about it, and I'm sure soap veterans, aka people who have been watching soaps on the regular for years, can probably clarify what I'm saying, but rather than the episode ending on a just a crazy cliffhanger, which certainly this episode did. Let's not get it twisted. It almost feels like the entire episode in itself is a cliffhanger, if that makes any sense. I mean, because this episode, if I could like sum it up in two words, it would be false hope. Because there were different elements of the episode where it felt like certain characters, it almost felt like, oh wow, things are actually going the way I hope they would, or I'm moving on from this situation and no more. But yeah, there are different characters across the city that have different plans. And yeah, like I said, when you look at situations like Doug, with his gambling, and Danny trying to move forward from the Bill and Haley thing, it just seems like rather than them being able to move forward, they're actually being pulled deeper into a hole that they didn't even know they were standing in the first place. But I definitely feel like this episode is worthy of a 10 out of 10. Originally, I was going to give it like a 8 or a 9, but I think the highlight that everybody and their mom is talking about is kind of the little celebratory family meeting that Danny held. And we got to see, the family, the Duprees just having a good time. And when you really think about it, we're 10 episodes in, and it didn't really feel like we've had any moments of true celebration. I mean, there were little moments of, relative happiness, but it usually got interrupted. And of course, the same could be said here, but let's be real. Seeing Danny and then Chelsea doing their little runway strut, and then Vernon and Anita dancing, that was a joy to see. Because one of the most common, I wouldn't say complaints, but requests from audience members in my comment section is, man, where's Vernon? Where's Anita? Why don't we see more of them? And I'm like, I don't think what we've gotten is bad. I feel like less is more. And I think that as the story unfolds, we're going to find out more about these two characters in particular. But the fact that when we do see them being lovey-dovey, or just, getting up and having a ball like they're young, it was a joy to see. So yeah, this definitely felt like a 10 out of 10 episode. But before moving forward into the review, and trust and believe, this episode was pretty straightforward. It wasn't bad. It's just like I only got half a page of notes. That's because we really were doing a lot of great setup points for what's to come next week. I took a look at the analytics for the month of March, and ironically enough, 50% of my views come from people who have not subscribed, and 50% come from those who have subscribed. So I know that the soap opera has been bringing in new viewers. So if you are new to my channel, this is your first time here, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, especially if you've been watching multiple uploads of my Beyond the Gates content. Like I said, I try to do my reviews daily. And if not, I'll have it up as soon as possible. But yeah, go ahead and hit subscribe and hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. So, Kat, I felt so bad for Kat in this episode because of the fact that she has an instinct that something, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right with Eva. And obviously we as the audience knows that she's right, but as people online have been saying, it's like, Kat, she's on the ball. Her instincts, or the vibes Eva is giving off, aren't good. They're on point, but her approach to this is anything but subtle. And as a result, it's kind of agonizing when you see Ted and Nicole dismiss their daughter. But to be completely honest, you can't help but understand where they're coming from. Because she is coming across as an entitled, spoiled, bougie brat who looks down on others. So the more Kat takes this approach to busting Eva, the harder it's going to be for anybody to believe her. So it definitely feels like Kat, she has the right answers, but the way she's being condescending, it's not really helping her case. But she does catch Eva, in the office on her mom's work computer, and she saw like close a screen or screen grab something. And obviously, we know as an audience in episode 9, she had sent a copy of Nicole's award video to her mom, Leslie, or Dana. Unfortunately, that's going to come and bite her in the butt later in the episode, as we'll see. But, she's just holding her own as best she can, because Eva makes it clear, like, look, you mess with the Duprees, you fool us once, okay, you fool us twice, it's your funeral. Because the whole Haley situation has definitely got Kat on edge, which makes sense. I explained this before in another video. I mean, the last time down on her luck girl was introduced to the family, what happened? It screwed up the marriage of Nicole's sister. Now, Kat doesn't want to be the Naomi in this situation and just stand by while this happens to Nicole and Ted. Nuh-uh, not going to happen. So, she tells Kat, like, you know what? I'm going to go see my mom. She's here somewhere. Yeah, she's around here doing her rounds at the psych ward. That's why, I'm not afraid to just sit here and wait until she comes back. So Kat goes off to find her. Now, the thing is, man, this is so sad. Ted and Nicole, are being lovey-dovey in the hospital hallway. And, of course, Ashley's trainer is, just kind of looking on like, mm-hmm. And in the background, we see Leslie, who I believe is going by the alias of Sherry, right? Hang on. Yeah, Sherry is her fake name. Well, this is like, 3 different identities? You got Dana is her real name, but Ted knows her. Well, actually, Ted knows her as Danny. Leslie is the name Ted doesn't know. And now with this wig, she's disguised as Sherry. It'll be messed up but funny. But I was thinking of is this going to be one of those like Hannah Montana kind of things where oh man, where like in the show you have all right, it's Miley Cyrus, but what was her name in the show? Hang on, let me see. Oh, okay. She also went by Miley in the show. All right. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I wonder if we're going to see Leslie just randomly pop up with different wigs and aliases and people won't know it's her. It's like she puts on this wig as Sherry in front of like Nicole, and then we know in the promo for next week, Ted sees her. But what if she wears a different wig and she's going to be going by a different name? I don't know why, but that cracks me up. But it's also so sad that she's carried this anger and resentment for so long to the point where Eva accidentally set her mom off. So apparently, she tells her daughter later in the episode she watched that Ted and Nicole video like a dozen times and it just sickened her. So when Ted and Nicole are in the hallway kissing and whatnot, you have Leslie in the background just scowling at them. So they eventually make their way into the office. First, Ted goes in there, and Eva's just about to bolt, but Ted stops like, "Oh no, just I want to tell you again how much I appreciate you for making my wife's job a lot easier, and like how are things adjusting for you around your workspace." And when Eva is trying to be kind of blunt and make her way out of the office, she's like, "Wait a minute, I know what it is." Eva's like, "Uh-oh, it's about the Duprees, because I know the Duprees can be a bit intimidating and whatnot. And you probably, that run-in with my daughter probably was a bit awkward. But, the way to handle it is just, let her be. It's just how she is." So then eventually we go over to Nicole, who shuts down Kat. Because like I said, Kat's approach is very blunt as opposed to just, "Mom, can you trust me on this?" Because Nicole, it's like she's, again, this is her daughter's. And this is not the first time Kat has been like this. So it's a mix of being dismissive, but also like, look, it's one thing for you to feel some kind of way about Eva, but for you to dismiss my instincts despite me being a psychiatrist, we ain't having that. So basically, Kat gets completely shut off in terms of, Nicole wanting to hear another word from her mouth regarding Eva and her integrity. So from there, They go to the office and they pretty much again shut Kat down and tell Eva like, hey, don't worry about it. Just keep doing what you're doing, and that's pretty much it. So they have, a little nice exchange, and that's when Eva goes out to the elevator and sees her mom there. And like I said, like Danny can give great monologues, but so can Leslie. She says something to the effect of, why people build gates? Because, they think they're closing themselves in from the outside world, but in reality, they're pretty much exposing the truth that they have something worth hiding. But the thing is, people eventually crawl their way through the gates or over it or some way in there, and then they go and burn it all down. So I'm like, dang. So yeah, that video set Leslie off, and Eva's like, whoa, chill. Like, first of all, what are you doing here? Nicole and Ted are here. It's like, don't worry about it. It's like you spent years doing this whole plan, and I don't want you to blow it because you got in your feelings about something. But nah, Leslie's about to turn this thing inside out. So she's about to turn it inside out. All right. And interestingly enough, Ted has some very telling dialogue when he's talking to Nicole about how he feels sorry or feels bad for Eva. It's like, wait, what do you mean you didn't do anything? And then, I don't know, I just do. So there are just little moments where you wonder if Eva's, just presence set something off in Ted. Like maybe he feels something like, is she who she thinks she or says she is? And not to the extent of Kat, because later on, Kat and Chelsea have a conversation on the roof of the hospital, and Kat talks about how her dad used to take her up here, and basically, it almost seemed like a Mufasa and Simba moment. It's like, everything the light touches will be your kingdom. That kind of thing. And then, Kat gets kind of a real talk from Chelsea, because Chelsea is her cousin and someone around her age, so she's going to talk to her like a real person as opposed to a parent or an aunt or a grandparent or whatever the case may be. And she pretty much says, like, you do have a tendency to be judgmental and bougie, so maybe you should lay off of Eva. But nah, she says, no, I'm not doing that, especially after the whole Haley thing. But in the midst of it, that's when Chelsea gets a text from her mom saying, hey, I got to go to my grandparents' house for some sort of announcement. So from there, we go over to Jacob, and he's working late, but based on, this is my theory here. Based on what happens at the end of the episode with Jacob and Danny, I'm thinking Bill called Jacob when did he call? I think it was at the end of episode 9 where he's sitting on the couch and he just starts having a little PTSD moment from Danny, pulling the gun on them at the wedding. Then he makes a call. It's like, hey, I need to see you, or I need to talk to you immediately. Because in this episode later on, we see him at the, what do you say? I'm in Uptown getting a drink. We see him there, and again, that song, "You Got Me Like a Heart Attack," dun, dun. That song is living rent free in my head. That played in episode 9 when Danny was dancing to it, and then Andre came over, and this time it was playing in the background when Bill was at that Uptown joint. A side note: if you're a person who watches a bunch of soap operas, let me know. Is it common for soap operas to play music like this? I mean, yeah, I know instrumentals, but I mean like legit songs. I don't know if this is a real song or if it's an original for the series, but regardless, I want it. I need it on my Spotify playlist or, my phone, because, man, this song, the groove, the lyrics is awesome. Okay, more to the point. He calls Haley to ask if she wants to come for a drink, but apparently she's at like a spa or something. It's like, no, don't worry about it. You deserve it. Have fun. I'll see you when you get home. Also, you know what? You're right. Everything is going to be okay. And Jacob is talking to Naomi, and he's saying a lot of telling things, which are clear indicators that something later on is going to happen that is going to make Naomi look at him in a different way. It's like, hey, look, you know I love you, right? Unconditionally. Like, I love you so much, and here's the part now. I will never intentionally do anything to hurt you. So it seems to me that based on the end of the episode when he comes over to arrest Danny for attempted murder, I'm thinking Bill called Jacob to press charges, and that's why Jacob is the one to do it. which is sad because we know how he felt guilty because he hesitated at the wedding to apprehend his mother-in-law when she pulled out that gun on Bill and Haley. Now, this is so difficult because I feel, you know how I feel about Danny, but I can't be biased here. And if you look at my sister's videos, I tell you all the time I'm not biased. When I don't like a character, I'm going to call them out when they do something foul. Or when I like a character, I'm also going to call them out when they do something foul. The theme of this episode was Danny saying that, hey, I moved on because at the bar, she's texting, or actually Andre texts her saying, like, I feel used. And, they have a little back and forth exchange, and Danny's always on like, oh, well, it'll never happen again. Yeah, right. We know it's going to happen again between these two. But essentially, it's like, well, it can't happen tonight, especially because I got something going on, something big. Wait, like what? Stay tuned. So then that's when she leaves the voicemail for Chelsea to go over to her parents' house. And Vanessa comes over there right after she gets off the phone with Naomi because she tells Naomi, hey, come over to your grandparents' house. There's a big announcement coming on. And Naomi is happy because Danny actually sounds like her old self over the phone, which is great. So Vanessa comes in looking good, by the way, and Diego is across the room. So basically, Danny and her are having drinks to celebrate, and like everyone else, they're asking Danny, what are we celebrating for? Oh, for a new chapter in my life. Basically, she's talking about how, I wore all these dresses and whatnot that Bill liked to make him happy, so I'm about to get rid of all that stuff and give me a new wardrobe. And, she spots Diego, and because apparently Diego has a bit of a reputation around the country club. So he's very hands-on with his clients. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So after that, they do have an interesting conversation. We learn a bit more about Vanessa and the fact that, her and Doug have kids, but they're grown, they're in college and whatnot. And it's kind of an empty nest, but it's very similar to Bill and Danny in a sense where it's not like they don't love each other, but they really don't spend a lot of time together because, recently we learned Doug is usually saying, oh, I'm helping as many clients as I can, but we know that it's really him going to gambling halls and whatnot. And in the meantime, Vanessa's kind of filling the void with, sex with whoever she can get it with. So it is sad, but they pretty much it's almost like they kind of have an agreement. I don't think Vanessa knows exactly about how deep Doug is in the gambling pit. And I don't know if Doug is completely aware about Vanessa's activities, but she does make it seem like, hey, we'll stay married. We'll still live together. It's just like you live your life, I live mine. However, we won't let anything come in between us. So you could almost, and let's be real, this is a real thing that happens in marriages all the time. So that's one way to look at it. And and Danny kind of looks like, oh wow, because me and Bill kind of, it was a time where I thought nothing would come between us, and she looked the other way in regards to the other affairs, and that's why she didn't think too much of Haley until boom, next thing you know, they're getting married. So man, that is very telling. Very telling indeed. But anyway, Danny says, well, I can't be late when I'm the one who called the family meeting. So she bolts to her parents' house, and then Vanessa leaves, followed by Diego, and they start making out. And I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. So over at the Dupree estate, and when I say Dupree estate, I specifically mean Vernon and Anita, they're both talking about how they've been doing damage control with, friends and other family members. Because remember, Danny's little stunt went viral. So it's kind of funny to see them dealing with the aftermath. Like, yeah, we did the press conference and whatnot, but despite what's said on TV and other press junkets, your closest, your nearest and dearest are going to have questions about, like, did you raise a gun slinging Dupree or what? So yeah, it's kind of funny seeing them have to deal with that. But from there, Anita says something very interesting, saying, yeah, I regret making Danny go to that wedding. Well, no, duh. And then Vernon's like, oh, well, Bill left us no choice. I still call bull on that. I feel like when Bill invited them, I don't think Danny was meant to come, because even he knows, like, yeah, after that stunt she pulled with the golf club and punching Haley in the face, maybe it's not a good idea for her to come. So part of me feels like Vernon and Anita made her go to kind of stick it to Bill. That's what I think. So they I don't know. It's like, I'm glad Anita said it, but I wish she would have said it to Danny though. It's like, yeah, y'all effed up by making her go. She could have just went to Paris and a whole lot of this crap would never have happened. So even though Bill kind of strong armed Vernon, I still blame you two. I'm just saying. So from there, they talk about how they hope that that Danny could hopefully move on. Like, these outbursts were her way of getting it out of her system. So hopefully, she can just move forward, not look back at the Bill and Haley thing, and just go on with her life. So Naomi actually comes in and she sees her grandparents, going for a little stroll, which was cute. It's just those little things. I appreciate that. Like I said, even if we don't see Vernon and Anita that much, just knowing that they're still in love and, they're just enjoying their, what do they call them? The golden years or whatever you call it. But yeah, it's like, despite being at their age, they're still very much in love. And, well, they worry about their kids and their grandkids and other relatives. And yeah, so I love to see it. So Naomi is hoping that when her and Jacob get older to that age, they're doing the same thing. And I'm thinking, we'll just have to wait and see if you can survive what your husband does later in the episode. So Naomi was playing the piano and Chelsea comes in. And then Danny comes in, and it's funny because I saw a bunch of GIFs and memes on Twitter about this. So Danny pretty much says, like, okay, again, I'm sorry for everything and whatnot. And I'm letting you know now that I've accepted my marriage to Bill is dead. And I'm going to move forward and whatnot. And what's funny is everybody's reaction to it. Nicole couldn't come because obviously she was still doing some stuff in her office. But I just love the fact that Chelsea, Naomi, Vernon, and Anita kind of all had the same look on their face. Like, so, was she not at the wedding that Bill and Haley had? Because her saying, like, well, the wedding is, my marriage is officially dead. She's saying this 6 months after the divorce was filed. About a week after the divorce papers were finalized and she received them in the mail, and a couple of days after the actual wedding of Bill to another woman, and she's just now saying, my marriage is dead. This is just like Sisters, where Karen is talking about how, I've accepted Zach and I have been, finished a long time ago. And it's like, sis, he's been engaged for like several seasons. And his fiance, who we bought a house to move her into several seasons ago, is now pregnant. Everybody has said you got to move on except for you. So you just now acknowledging this is crazy. But it's good that she is. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I love that Danny said this, but it's one of those things where you look at it from the perspective of, but look at everything you did over the past few days. And she mentions like the guns and the golf club, and her parents like, wait, what's this about a golf club? And then I think Chelsea said like, well, mom decided to recreate the Lemonade video, and it's like, oh crap. So man, wait, didn't I know this a reference here, but didn't Tiger Woods' ex-wife take a golf club and like beat the crap out of his car? I think so, after she found out he cheated on her. So they all have a moment where it's like, Dan's like, wait, I'm serious this time. And look, I know my words are one thing, but actions are going to be the proof. And Verner's like, well, I can only speak for myself, but I believe you, baby girl. So from there, they all have a moment. And unfortunately for Chelsea, you got, Danny's like, I'm moving forward with my life. I'm putting my all into Chelsea's modeling career, and we're going to move forward from there. And of course, we know Chelsea is still waiting to drop the bomb on her mom about quitting modeling to pursue the purse line. So yeah, it's like Kat said, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. So, but then again, if Danny gets locked up, I guess Chelsea won't have anything to worry about. So from there, they do that little dance montage I talked about, where Danny does one of her catwalks from back in the day. Oh yeah, we also get a little backstory on that. Apparently, her first fashion show, she face planted, but she got up and kept going, and that was pretty much the beginning of Danny, not just Danny Dupree, which was great. Good grief. I really do feel like this was just a great family moment. It truly was. So they all got up and danced, and they having a good time. They're laughing. But then the moment Jacob comes in, it's like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? And then Vernon's like, so is this a social call or business? And Naomi's, oh, no, no, no. This is definitely social. Jacob's family. And everybody's looking, but Jacob's like, you could tell it's written on his face something's wrong. So that's when he reads Danny her rights and puts her under arrest. So that was one heck of a cliffhanger. Now, over at the hospital, while Naomi and Ted are wrapping things up before they can leave, the Ashley's trainer comes in and talks about a woman who's threatening to jump off the roof of the hospital, and Nicole rushes up there and tries to talk her down, and she turns to the camera, and we know that it's Dana, aka Leslie, disguised as Sherry. So it's like, uh-oh, I wonder how this is going to turn out. And from there, the last thing to talk about here, make sure I didn't miss anything, we get Doug talking with Joey. Joey's the owner of the casino, and this is This is an actor who is a veteran in the world of soap operas too. But basically, he surprised Doug by knowing about all of his debts and gives him a specific amount of money that just so happens to be enough money to the exact amount needed to clear Doug's debt. And from there, he even gives him some extra money, just some spending money, because it's one of those things where Doug's like, well, this didn't go. This is going completely different from how my boy Randy said it would go. And he's like, well, I have clients, but then I also have friends. You can never have too many friends. So basically, he values Doug's assets, if you will, in terms of what he has to offer, both having the ability to save and or change people's lives. And Doug is like, well, hey, I can get this back to all I need to do is a few surgeries. And it's like, no, don't even worry about paying me back. Consider your debt owed, but don't, your debts are paid, but the favors that come from that, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I pay off your debts, but you're going to owe me something. So then when Doug, gets out of there, Randy slips into the vehicle and talks to him like, wait, why'd you do that? Doug, I know Doug, he won't be able to pay that money back. And Joey's like, what we're going to do here is you forget about him being a friend. He's now a mark. And the plan is to make Doug dig himself deeper into the holies and to the point where he will never be able to dig himself out. So apparently, Joey has this long game on Doug to possibly extort favors and whatnot for him forever. So, yikes. This is some good stuff. But yeah, overall, solid episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, what did you think about week 2? I just feel, good to be watching a soap from its inception, because like I said, when I was born in 91 and got, old enough to understand the concept of watching TV, soaps had already been on the air. It's like, they've been on for years. So to actually be here for the beginning of a soap and hopefully see it go on and on is good. And like I said, this is only week 2, and I feel like the quality is getting better as we are doing more world building. So with that being said, as I requested before, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.